Yes, let's talk about the protagonist of Art of Darkness. So, let us know about the meaning of protagonist. The word protagonist is a noun and formally the main character in a play, a film, or a book. So, first definition says the main character in a drama, novel, or a story around whom the action canters. And another meaning for this protagonist word is a person who plays a leading or a active part. Introduction. So let us have an introduction for the protagonist. We really cannot say it better than Joseph Conrad himself. Art of Darkness is a wild story of a journalist who becomes manager of a station in the African interior and makes himself worshipped by a tribe of savages. Thus described, the subject seems comic, but it isn't. No, not comic at all. Set in the African interior and based on Conrad's own experiences as the captain of a Belgian steamer, Heart of Darkness isn't much like the rousing adventure story that it sounds like. It's less Indiana Jones and the Ivory Traders than psychological horror with a dash of the horrors of colonialism. And in February of 1899, readers of Blackwood magazine, a high faulting literary rag, kind of like the New Yorker, were treated to the first of its three parts. Conrad is one of the most important English writers of late 19th and early 20th centuries. And get this, he wasn't even a native English speaker. Conrad was Polish and he did not actually learn English until he was in his 20s, and after he would already learn French. Think about that next time you complain about having to write an essay. His works explore the seedy underbelly of imperialism, the novel of European countries to stake out claim to various far-flung parts of the world. Heart of Darkness is set right after the scramble for Africa, the period of the late 19th century, when imperial powers sliced up and doled out Africa like some particularly delicious and ivory rich birthday cake. None of the Western countries really come off looking good in this whole debacle, but Belgium unfortunately looks particularly bad. They were after the valuable ivory hidden away in the African interior and they were not afraid to brutalize and oppress the Africans in order to get it. Art of Darkness follows the disturbing journey of English ivory trading agent Marlowe, who, working for a Belgian company, travels into the jungles of Africa in search of a mysterious man named Kurtz, who appears to have become godlike figure and gone totally off his rocker. But After Darkness is much, much more than a story about a trip up the river. It's a searching exploration of difference, of good and evil, black and white, sanity and insanity. In the end, what we were left with is nothing, nothing really. Most contemporary critics agree that the novel is about the essential emptiness at the core of humanity and language. That's why T.S. Eliot used a quotation from the novel as an epigraph to his poem, The Alumn, a super important and famous literary exploration of a modern life. One last and important thing in 1975, Nigerian writer Chinua Achebe spoke about against the novel. He accused it of making its point by dehumanizing Africans and reducing them to extensions of the hostile and primal jungle environment. Conrad's language was beautiful and seductive, he said, but it was wrong. Beautiful, seductive, and wrong. To us, that sounds a lot like how Marlowe would describe Kurtz, and it is a good example of how head twistingly complex this novel. Marlowe serves as the protagonist of Heart of Darkness, and most of the novella features him telling his own story from his own perspective. Marlowe's experience involves him traveling deep into the heart of colonial Africa and witnessing horrors that force him to reevaluate his faith in European imperialism and its civilizing mission. As Marlowe explains to the crew of the Nelly, prior to traveling in the Congo, he believed that the devotion to efficiency could redeem colonialism, preventing it from becoming mere robbery with violence. However, as he journeys down the Congo River and encounters the on the ground reality at various company stations along the way, he is physically and mentally antagonized by gross incompetence paired with inhuman treatment of Africans. Marlowe's physical and psychological journey therefore stages the novella's central theme of the moral bankruptcy of Europe and its imperialist activities. Following Kurt's death, Marlowe experiences the full effects of his crisis of faith when we must choose what to reveal and what to conceal about Kurt's fiancée. With this choice, Marlowe wrestles with the proper response to immorality and ultimately chooses to protect her from the darkness that has consumed his own mind. Marlowe is not always our narrator, but he is definitely our main man. We sympathize with him, we assume he has a higher moral standard than his colleagues, and we believe that his motivation isn't just greed or ambition. He is just like us. In the end, Marlowe's illusion, the universe is fundamentally good, is wiped away in his final interview with Kurtz's intent. After a naive assessment of a situation which she never saw and Marlowe knows was fundamentally different than she believes, Marlowe lies to her. In some ways, this is about Marlowe giving up. He realizes that the world is dark and he would better just go along and lie about it than try to maintain his integrity by standing up to the darkness. Well, unless you think that him telling his story is a way of maintaining his integrity.